Hello BTS lovers, I kept it. A short sentence that softly escaped Park Jimin's lips became the turning point of what had been a warm and relaxed atmosphere. No one predicted that BTS's special 10th anniversary recording session would turn into an emotional stage of confession and inner wounds. But 2 hours ago, that's exactly what happened. An emotional explosion that shocked millions of fans worldwide, and the one most deeply affected was Jungkook. A crucial question now arises. What had Jimin been keeping all this time? And why could Jungkook no longer hold himself back? It all began with an internal recording prepared by the agency as a reflection of BTS's decade-long journey. The format was casual, sitting comfortably, sharing stories, reminiscing about the early debut days. But once Jimin began to speak, the room's dynamic instantly shifted. No gimmicks, no script. Just heartfelt words from a friend who had chosen silence for so long. With his gaze fixed on Jungkook, not the camera, Jimin spoke with a trembling yet resolute voice. "I've just been keeping it all this time." Instantly, silence filled the room. Not a single crew member spoke. No camera shifted angle. Jungkook's eyes widened. His expression froze. His emotions, long restrained by professionalism and the habit of appearing perfect, began to crack. Jimin continued, "There are things I could never say. Not because I didn't want to, but because I was afraid. I was afraid that if I spoke honestly, everything would change. Afraid we wouldn't be the same anymore." Those words were more than a personal statement. They reflected the complexity of a relationship forged over more than a decade under the pressure of fame and public expectation. And at that moment, Jungkook began to cry. Not a typical cry. Not from exhaustion or passing sadness, but tears that flowed after years of holding in undefined feelings, a mix of pain, longing, maybe even disappointment. The camera captured everything. Jungkook's body trembled. He covered his face with both hands. The crew stayed silent, only bowing their heads or staring in disbelief. Yet no one stopped the moment. Even the director, according to internal sources, signaled for the recording to continue. Everyone realized this was more than just content. This was history. Jimin stood from his seat, slowly walked over to Jungkook. He placed his hand on his younger brother's shoulder and whispered, "I never meant to make you wait. I'm only human, and I was scared." Jungkook lifted his head, looking at Jimin with eyes now red and wet. "Why now, Hyung? Why not before?" His voice was hoarse, broken, almost inaudible. Yet behind that question was a pain only two people who had been through so much together, on stage and off camera, could understand. Jimin replied, "The longer I kept it, the more this silence hurt both of us." And then the hug happened. Not a formal hug for the camera, but one that broke down all barriers. In that hug were confession, apology, understanding, and love in its most honest form. The impact was unstoppable. Video clips from the leaked recording spread on social media within minutes. Fans around the world poured out tears and empathy. They didn't just witness an interaction between two celebrities, but saw two humans finally speaking heart to heart. Comments like, "I cried more than I thought I would," or "It felt like witnessing a delayed confession years in the making," flooded social media. Many called this moment a reminder that even public figures as strong as BTS have fragile spaces within them. In a limited interview a few days later, Jimin chose not to elaborate on the contents of his confession. He simply said, "I don't want to carry this alone anymore. Jungkook deserves to know how much I value him." Meanwhile, Jungkook admitted, "When he spoke, it felt like my whole chest collapsed. I couldn't hold it all in. I feel like we can finally breathe together again." This moment, according to many Korean pop culture analysts, reflects something deeper than just personal conflict or tension. It's about collective trauma, the burden of popularity, and the importance of emotional honesty in human relationships. Beyond idols and fans, beyond stage and camera, Jimin and Jungkook have shown the world that the courage to speak honestly is the highest form of love and respect. Now, 2 hours later, the echoes of that event still linger. Not just among fans, but also among fellow artists, cultural commentators, even the general public. Many are now beginning conversations about the importance of mental health and honest communication in this high-pressure, digital age. At the end of the video, Jimin said, "We all have something we keep. But if you're ready, speak. Because maybe the person you love is waiting too." And that's what makes this moment unforgettable. Not because it went viral, not because of the drama, but because of the truth that was revealed. In a world often filled with masks and image crafting, honesty like this is a rare gift. However, behind the wave of empathy and flood of tears filling social media timelines, an important question arises that cannot be ignored. Did all of this really happen? Or is this just part of a carefully crafted scenario designed to create a viral moment and stir public emotions in an era of lightning-fast information and when the line between reality and fabrication grows increasingly blurred? The public can no longer remain passive spectators. We need to ask the hard questions. We need to doubt, to criticize, and to verify. If not, we'll merely become victims of a narrative neatly arranged to influence our opinions and emotions. The recording, allegedly leaked and spread within minutes, came from platforms that are often fertile ground for disinformation: TikTok, Twitter, now X, YouTube Shorts clips, even fan-base groups on Telegram and Discord. So the fundamental question is, who shared it first? What's the motive behind its distribution? Is there any official source confirming its authenticity? Don't rush to be moved before asking, are these emotions I'm feeling based on facts or on a constructed narrative? Furthermore, we must realize that in the entertainment industry, especially in the meticulously structured and strategic world of K-pop, anything can be packaged into a dramatic moment designed for specific purposes. Some suspect that Jimin's emotional confession was simply part of a content strategy ahead of BTS's anniversary and a response to the group's limited activities due to military obligations. Is that cynical? Perhaps. But the question must be asked, and you as the viewer deserve to know whether what you're watching is reality or narrative. Ask yourself this: why could such an intimate moment leak so quickly onto social media? Who benefits from the spread of this content? The artist? The agency? The media platforms? Why has there been no direct clarification from Jimin or Jungkook? Even as this topic ignites global discussion, even Big Hit's official statement released a few days later seemed extremely cautious. Its wording was neutral, neither confirming the content of the emotional moment nor denying it. They said, BTS has gone through a deep emotional journey. We respect their personal expressions and support emotional honesty in safe spaces. This statement can be read in many ways, and that in itself is a red flag for the public. Are we being invited to form our own interpretations without any clear line between fact and fiction? Then, let's also examine how global media and fandom communities responded. Trending hashtags, reaction videos, articles with dramatic headlines, all of them seem to reinforce the narrative that this confession moment truly happened. But have you ever wondered, what if this is a reflection of what we want to believe, rather than what actually occurred? Maybe we want to see Jungkook cry and hug Jimin because we need proof that their relationship is truly genuine, that behind the fame, there is humanity. But is that desire enough to make it real? These questions are not meant to undermine your feelings as a fan, but to invite you to rise one level higher in how you think and respond to media. In this post-truth era, emotions often matter more than data. We believe something not because it's proven true, but because it feels true. And if we're not careful, we'll fall into a cycle of mass emotional manipulation. Let's reflect together. Does social media bring us closer to the truth, or pull us further away from it? How many moments have we cried over, only to later find they were deliberately crafted for virality? How can we be loyal fans while still remaining critical? Of course, we cannot immediately conclude that everything is fabricated. It's entirely possible that Jimin truly held in long-buried feelings, and Jungkook could no longer contain his emotions when it all came to light. Perhaps that moment was a long-awaited explosion of honesty. But it's also possible that all of this was merely a fragment of content production designed to stir our emotional attachment in order to maintain the relevance of a global brand. And at this point, skepticism is not hatred. It is, in fact, love. Healthy love doesn't just idolize, it also questions. It doesn't just believe, it tests. Because those who truly love are the ones who want to know the truth behind appearances.